Well, hello. It's big Mr. Hominoid. Now, you all know what a hominoid is. It's a Bigfoot. So I take my name, Mr. Hominoid, from a Bigfoot. I've been watching the Animal Planet, Bigfoot, Expedition Bigfoot. Now, they come up there and they've been doing 21 days, 8 films, episodes in series 1, trying to find Bigfoot. A lot of the times I thought to myself, I'll go put a surveillance camera up a tree, high up, and the tree has to be higher than where it would be standing. So in other words, not the camera on the front of your house looking at the street and hopefully one walks past, but one that's high up on a telegraph pole. If I'm trying to talk suburban, so you follow what I mean. High up on a telegraph pole, looking up the road, and see it up the road, crossing the road. I think you got the idea. So, watching this show, a couple of strange things happened to they've got my attention. First of all, you get the blonde lady, Mariah, and then you got the three guys totally. One guy got ultrasound out in the beginning days. Then along come a second guy and the army guy. Then they had the balloon people. In that episode, they said there's a heat source there right in front of you. And they're showing them walking towards the heat source, and then all of a sudden it disappears right on the camera. It shows it on the TV. As you're watching it, it disappears. Now, this guy didn't realise that in his own show, he was taught about cloaking. Now, he went into, I'll show you the guy I'm talking about. My camera will turn around. Right, this guy. Now, he's turned around and he got shown by an expert how hair on the body can make you cloak. And they're now using it in military exercises, which was top secret. But the guy let it out. They are using cloaking technology that they have found that does work because one or two creatures can cloak themselves. Now, isn't that interesting? And that's why the guy says, oh, no, it's not. He was talking to the guy about cloaking, and he said, oh, do you think that's possible? He said, oh, definitely. He said, I'll show you. And he showed him a device where he put his finger behind it, and you couldn't see his finger. It was cloaked because of the movement of the hairs. These things, hairs, yeah. So anything is possible. You must have an open mind as well. Anyway, the next part was they're sitting there and the girl's got blonde hair. Now, I want you to remember that. And then they go to Jeff Meldrum. Now, Jeff Meldrum turned around and says a Bigfoot does not have the big black vein in the hair sample. I think it's the, I can't think of the word. Geez, I'm getting bad. Anyway, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll come up to it. Here we go. I'll find it.
I have the test results from the hairs that we found in the mine shaft. 6 of those hairs came back as being deer or elk, which is, no surprise there. But under the microscope, 2 of the hairs share the characteristics of what many believe are hairs from Bigfoot. I had them both sent out for testing, and I just got back the results, and they both came back as belonging to human. That may sound disappointing, but it's actually not. First of all, both of these hairs were found in a place that humans do not go, at the end of a poisonous mine shaft. Second of all, many anthropologists, including Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum, thinks that we just haven't sequenced enough DNA to find those rare markers that differentiate between Bigfoots and humans.
What does that mean?
So, in other words, Bigfoots and humans may be so close that you can't tell the difference between our DNA. But that's not the only update I have for you.
I know that was a bit bad. It was off a TV set and this camera wouldn't rotate around and I couldn't do it. Anyway, but the point taken, you heard his voice. Jeff Meldrum turned around and said that, but when he showed the hair that he said belonged to a Bigfoot, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, it was all black, all black. This thing he showed was half. It had like a big vein in the middle of it. So interesting how he put up the wrong, well, it might be right, he put up the human one. Then he said they found blonde hairs in the cave. Remember what I said about, remember blonde? Well, they also in their show, they have it, the Bigfoot come up and does gifting. And in the gifting, they left a marble on top of an apple. And in the next show, one of the cameramen walks out behind the tree to go and have a pee, I presume. I don't know why he's walking up there, and they're probably going to have a pee. He said, hey guys, come and look at this. And he finds a marble sitting on the pine needles, sitting on the pine needles, 8 miles away from where they done the gifting with the apple with the marble. So how did the marble go back 8 miles? Right? So that's an interesting point. So obviously Bigfoot was right up next to their camp and they didn't even know it. Think about it. When you're going to go watch it, you watch it. Pick up these points. These points I'm saying you're going to pick up on. The next point, she's got blonde hair. So wouldn't she be combing her hair in the camp off camera? Wouldn't she be leaving her hairbrush on the table? Or wouldn't she have hair somewhere lying around? I mean, we don't have blonde human coyotes, do we? We don't have blonde any of us. She is the only blonde. And he brought the marble back to her camp, within 40 feet of her tent. Then there was another one with the army guy in the show. He left his tent, and when he come back, his trip device had been ripped off the tent. So how close did it get? And then he tried to make out it was a deer. Well, I don't know anything about deers, but I couldn't see a deer walking up that close to a human tent and getting caught up in the wire and ripping it off a tent. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes you wonder. Just a little side note. Every so often I've got to pause it because I've got heavy traffic going past and I'm trying to get the traffic out, right? I'm doing this all on the phone. So, next one makes you think. Then he turns around and says, they put up the cameras and they're zooming around with this balloon and they're filming with this rugby dirigible balloon. And this thing disappeared and they were right on top of it. Right? Now, was it heat? Was it a hot rock? No, well, a hot rock doesn't go cold that quick. But they do disappear, have cloaking. But how do they disappear off cloak and not show up any heat? Well, what people don't realise, if you watch enough of these shows, and this show especially in their later series, where they go somewhere else, they use LiDAR. And LiDAR, they go into a tunnel. And in the tunnel, they don't see nothing. But after that, and they take the film back to the house, building, office, whatever, and they examine it. They see the Bigfoot standing there under cloak. Yes, in cloak. It was transparent, but you could see the transparent line moving through the tunnel and getting out of the road of the guy. And he walked right past it. So first question is, why didn't the guy smell it? Why didn't he smell it under cloak? Secondly, why didn't he hear it when it's under cloak? These things we can't answer Because under cloak, it might mean everything is under cloak, not just not our eyesight. Did you know the human being is the most blindest creature on the planet when it comes to nighttime walking? You look at me, I look half blind. Anyway, my sense of humour. So the next bit is, he goes into the show, at the end of the show, he turns around and he says, here's Bigfoot. Now what they did, like I said, the camera up the power pole, right? They put a camera up top of a tree on a frame and they aimed it down a valley, and down in the valley you see the little Mr. Bigfoot running across. Now in that, he shows a very smart point that he says, you've got to listen carefully. I'll probably try and play it twice, but it's a bit hard to back up. They only just left the area from the date and time on the film of filming the Bigfoot walking between the trees to where they were every day at certain times. They had some sort of notes to say, oh, we are over here, we're going to be over there, and there was a record kept, apparently, where they were. Now, how they use that, I don't know. Did they use the timestamps off the cameras to work out where they were? But this guy says they just left the area. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So let's now have a look at that. Unfortunately, I can't turn this camera around, and I'm not going to go refilm all this again. But anyway, just bear with me. So if you want to watch the show, it is called Expedition Bigfoot 1 to 8, Series 1, Episode 1 to 8, right? At the end of Episode 8 is when they see the Bigfoot. But you must watch the first bits to learn their mistakes. So if you want to go out and film a Bigfoot, you don't make the same mistakes. They did film a Bigfoot with infrared, but they had to shoot it from over 100 and something yards away in the fog, which means it wasn't alarmed by it because it knew it was too far away. But if you want to get a close-up, you're not going to get it. I did a test several years ago on this channel, and I was playing around with infrared cameras. That's right, infrared cameras. And on that show, in that old house, in my old studio house, I held the camera up and you couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I'd be looking at it like this. I could not see it. But as soon as I put it like that towards this camera, it was up on the TV set. That's right. These cameras can see infrared. That's why they say, oh, you can see the red of eye shine on the camera. But also they see it with their own naked eyes. But if you've then got a camera that is producing infrared, don't you think they can see it? Because in the words of Bobo Fay, finding Bigfoot, he said that's how they talk to each other in the dark. They glow their eyes. Oh, you've got red glowing eyes, you're a Bigfoot. Oh, look, here's my red glowing eyes. So am I. Now that was 10 years ago. But these guys don't listen to all these other shows. This is the one thing I find with people in America that are studying Bigfoots. They do not study everybody else's research. They go over and they repeat the same research somebody else has done 10 years ago, and then they say, oh, look what I discovered. I'm intelligent. But it's already been processed. It's on video. It's on film. It's on YouTube. It's on, Animal Planet. It's already there. Animal Planet should have said to this guy who's working for Animal Planet, or going to produce for Animal Planet, go back and watch all the episodes of Finding Bigfoot with Bobo and Moneymaker and our good mate Cliff, drop over sometime. Hello, Cliff. And, of course, Renee. They all come up there with the same things. Renee asked them, as a skeptic, asked some great questions. And Bobo come back with good answers. And Moneymaker sort of did too. But it was mainly Cliff that come back and said, oh, but they do this, we know it's characteristic. But now, with this show, they've turned around and said, oh, their so-called ape lady who studies apes. And mind you, if you look at the top lip, it's as long as a monkey. So I don't know. You don't think she might be related? Nasty hominoid, nasty. Nah, it's just so, I notice things. Now come on, that's why people like hominoid. I notice things on camera that these people filming don't even notice that they filmed themselves. They didn't even see it. I've seen things on Finding Bigfoot, and I thought, oh, look at that. And then another show later said, oh, remember when we filmed that? Oh, yeah. And then I found out this, and Bobo says, or Cliff says, oh, yeah, well, we didn't know about that and all this, right? Now, Cliff, he's done all that, all those casts of Bigfoots walking across the mud over there in, was it Washington State or Oregon? And he called them the great so-and-so tracks of Bigfoot in the mud on a low-level river. But anyway, they all don't listen to each other. That's my point, right? You listen to other TV shows like Mountain Monsters. The young guy gets out there, big fat guy, and he turns around and he says, oh yeah, I can do all this. And they say, look, slow down, young buck, slow down. And then the old guy, now that he's dead, this young guy starts reading his book and he goes, oh, look, Trapper John's already said all that. He wrote it down 40 years ago. Yeah, and now he's relearning it and he thinks he discovered it. Again, people don't listen to their elders. That's where they make the same mistakes in life. Get a mortgage, go broke, go into business, go broke. You know the worst business to go into? Restaurants. 90% failure rate. Remember that, I told you. 90% failure. That's restaurants, not cafes. Right. Anyway, let's get back to Bigfoot. Now, I'm going to show you this bit here. Unfortunately, as I said, I can't turn this camera here around. So it's flicking and won't let me do it. All right. So we'll go and get this other. We'll turn it on there while there's no traffic around. And let's have a listen. All right. Well, I'll try and, I've got to look down inside the front of the camera and make sure this camera here is lined up with that TV set, right? I'm doing it off a TV set. I don't have a studio anymore. Just bear with me. But it's still me, hominoid. Right, let's have a look. Where we going to go? That way, right.
4 hours a day, from the time we set it up till the time we left the location. That's quite a lot of footage to go through, but after scanning through it again and again, I found something that quite honestly left me speechless. And what I found was passing between these trees.
Now, can you see what he's looking at? See? The camera, he's got his finger, there's all these big pine trees, look. And then there's gaps down here in the pine trees. Right. We should put this thing somewhere. Oh, that'll do. All right, I'll leave it there. Yep, what have I done?
Is what appears to be a large humanoid figure. Look, I'll play it again. You can clearly see that it's walking. Maybe that's a hunter. We were there for 21 days and didn't see a single person other than the people that were involved in our expedition. Plus, it certainly wasn't hunting season when we were there. And when you put together...
There. See, he's got the camera up on top of the mountain. And here it is here, walking across. You watch.
Of all the evidence that we found on this investigation, there's a...
Let's wind it back again.
It's a hunter. We were there for 21 days and didn't see a single person other than the people that were involved in our expedition. Plus, it certainly wasn't hunting season when we were there. And when you put together the composite picture of all the evidence that we found on this investigation, there's only one thing in my mind of what that could be. Now, I'm not definitively saying that that's a Bigfoot, but it's just indicative of how close we came on this expedition. That footage was taken just a few minutes walk from where we were at the time. And that's the difference.
Now that's the catch. He said he checked the camera and that footage was taken just a few minutes walk from where they were at the time. So was that thing walking towards them or was it getting away from them? I'd have a guess, my personal guess, it was going up to see what they're doing. Because if you're a Bigfoot, and I'm a Bigfoot, and we had a bunch of little skinny human beings running our backyard, wouldn't you want to go keep your eye on the children? Remember, we're its children, because we're smaller, so we'd be their children, if you follow my thought. Anyway, just thought that might be interesting to you. So, it's Animal Planet, and it's a couple of years old now, done back in 2019. I just came across it on one of my lazy days. I just thought that might interest you. Right? So, what's all the key things? The show didn't quite get it right there with Melton. The blonde hair could have come up the girl, and the Bigfoot could have walked into the camp, found a hairbrush and took the hair out, because they found that blonde hair in the fans of a drone that went underground in a tunnel, and it was sucked up into the blades of the drone. And when it came out, the hair was there, it was blonde. And this is several 100 miles away from anybody. So the only blonde person in the area, to my way of thinking, was her. So how did the hair get quarter of a mile underground in a tunnel, find in a pine needle bed nest in a three-piece triangle tunnel, like a T-shape? That's right. It must have picked up its hair, went through a hairbrush or something, and took her hair back. But then again, they can't tell the age of the hair. I mean, it could have been off a lost female, male, blonde bushwalker from 10 years ago. Might have got eaten up by the Bigfoot. You don't know. Right? And he could have took the hair back there, the head back there or something, got the hair off it and ate it. Then again, it could have been a hair off a leg, could have been hair off an arm. You don't know. But in this show, the only blonde one there was a woman. And it was obviously coming into their camp, because he said, A, the army guy disrupted his tent and pulled the alarm off. Secondly, the marble was found on the other side of a pine tree away from their main base camp. So, it makes you think, how close did Bigfoot really get to them without them knowing? And it was even the instance here when they stood there out in the forest and they looked over the top of a branch and there's a big pair of red eyes looking at them. 9 foot up in the air, 9 foot high, 10 foot high. So it's not shy of them. It's not scared of them. It just doesn't want to be annoyed. So it makes you think. Anyway, I was having a chat today at our local elections for the local mayor. And a couple of people and I were talking, and they said, "Oh, who am I?" And I said, "Oh, Mr. Hominoid." And they remembered I was done the story on the missing backpacker at Byron Bay a couple of years ago, and they still remember him. Isn't that interesting? People in Sydney still remember him. Do you remember his name? I'll see if you remember it. And mind you, Channel 9, that 60 Minutes show with that Gary, what's his, Jubilant, they copied my show. 3 months after I put it on air on YouTube, exactly how I believed he died, they made a major episode out of it on Channel 9. Just goes to show. So you go and have a look, see when they aired it, look up the subtitles and whatever else, all the other information. You go look up there when I made mine. I was doing mine for a year. They were only on it there for a month. So where'd they get all their information from? Of course, they outsourced it. They watch people like me on YouTube. You know, Gary Jubilant, he couldn't find a wet snotty tissue in a bloody bathroom hamper. Anyway, plus he's a liar. Anyway, because destroyed person's lives. Anyway, that's another story. Just getting off Bigfoot. Now, if you want to hear Bigfoot stories or Yowie stories, events, 1903, a Yowie attacked a guy on the beach on a horse at Byron Bay. right there where the creek comes out into the water at Byron Bay. Now, there is a great source for this. You can go to Yowie Hunters Australia archival website, and it shows all the events, and you can read them up over there. That's Yowie Hunters Australia, and all they do is Yowie. I'm a multi-channel. I do many different things. But if you want to get out what's that, Yowie Hunters Australia website, not on the YouTube, it's on a website. And you look up New South Wales, Queensland, whatever state. You look up New South Wales and you see Byron Bay. Byron Bay is in New South Wales. All right? That's where that one there was. And Tyalgum, which is up the road there where I live, and Wollumbar, up the road where Bobo Fay went, and Moneymaker went. He went up there to Mount Warning with a Kookaburra and all that, if you remember that TV show. Fingal Head is up the road there from Wollumbar Head. Wollumbar on the Tweed River. On the head of the Tweed River is Fingal Head. Is that the head of the river? No, the mouth. That's right, yeah, the mouth of the river. The head of the river's up the top. Oh, I think we're getting old. Yeah, and I don't sound too good. No, I'm not well. I've got a bit of a sore throat. Anyway, getting old. Hey, I'm still a box of information. Anyway, leave us a comment. Anybody think of the Belgian boy's name? Leave me a comment. Let's see who remembers his name. Leave me a comment. What's the Belgian boy's name that disappeared? Lest we not forget. See you later. Love from Hominoid. See you all later. Bye. Don't forget, be happy, be kind, be caring, and look after people and help people out. I gave a nice donation today down there at the local primary school. They know who they are. I'm not going to say their name because that'll give away what area I'm living in. But they got good seafood. They know. They got the joke. Anyway, for me, Hominoid, don't forget, if you ever feel suicidal, you can always call me up, Mr. Hominoid, M Hominoid on Facebook, Messenger, or you can call Lifeline here in Australia, or any other health service around the world that gives suicidal aid. And just remember, get your dogs and cats spaded and neutered. And if your partner mucks up too much, get them spaded and neutered. And tell them Mr. Hominoid said you had permission to do it, because if they're out cheating on you, well, that's not very good. So get them neutered or spaded. I'm not being serious, that's just a bit of fun. Remember, you've got to have a smile every day. Think of something great every day. Think of something nice that you did for the day. Well, I made a nice donation, right, down at the local school, and help the kids out for their education. So there you go. And they didn't even know who I was. And I thought that was marvellous. See you later from Hominoid. Bye.